There, meet you guys. Thank you for joining us. I apologize for the wait. We had a lot of things happening. Life happens, right? So today, as Michael has put out there, we're going to be talking about ancestral work and how to work with our ancestors, or when's the best time to work with our ancestors. Also, should we work with our ancestors?
Well, we apologise once again for that delay, but obviously children come first, our family comes first, and then we continue. Last week we did To Love Witch discussion on magic itself and about the craft. Now we're this week, as we promised every week, which we're going to have a talk on various different topics. This week, working with our ancestors and how important that is to us. In general, as a family, we all might work together with our ancestors, or husband and wife. So we'll ask you to put out your first questions on the dashboard, and we'll just discuss about our experiences with our ancestors, but not too deep into certain stories, because some of those stories are personal, and we don't like to go through some of the things that our ancestors don't want us to talk about. And obviously with, for example, my family, there's not much of a connection that I use. I use more Belinda's mother from the world of spirit, who had a very strong connection with the spirit world when she was here, and she was a medium, she was a witch. But not only that, in the real world, when she was alive in a physical body, she was a dedicated mother and a dedicated, committed, loyal, trustworthy wife. Now, it's all fair and good being brilliant spiritually and doing all those things that you're meant to do in your purpose in life, but her other half of that purpose was to be the best she could ever be. Just whatever what was about Belinda's mother, that was the purpose for this world, was to be a good mother and a good wife, and that was what she did, and a good friend. And you have that legacy that you leave, and you they take that on into spirit world, and we use various different techniques to connect to our ancestors for magic and for chanting rituals and many other things.
Yes, we do. And people ask me why use our ancestors. Well, if you think about it, guys, we have our deities and we have our gods or goddesses, whatever. Fantastic, wonderful energy to work with. But when it comes to personal things in your family situation, your life situation, who's going to care more about your situation? Your ancestors. And not all ancestors are good to work with. There's some that we loved, but they're not good to work with because of whatever reason, whatever, anything that could be negative or whatever. Also, they don't have to be blood related. If it was your neighbor and you were there and you felt like she was part of the family for 20 years and that person passes away and that's such a good person to, you would work with that. So it doesn't have to be a blood relation to work with.
Sadly, we have ancestors that pass in very sad circumstances, but we trust that they're our loved ones, and other ancestors in spirit world will help them through into the light. But often family members that die tragically would be grounded in certain circumstances. But we may love our grandparents, we may love our parents, our brother and sister, but what example are they going to leave if they weren't showing that in this world? We do have to be very careful about how we speak about other people's family members and our own. But for example, my grandfather in the world of spirit is healing at the moment after 10 years of passing away. There's no time in spirit world, and what may seem to be a lifetime for me that he's gone may have been just seconds for him for that journey. And I feel that healing process, he's more healing himself, and that's okay. I wouldn't look to using his ancestral dirt for this type of work, because I feel that would be unfair to do that to him when he's on a path. And I know his circumstances, and I know that it would be just too much for him to bear. But Belinda's mother is a different matter altogether, with that strength and that magic in this world that she brought out for the people to help them. It's kind of taken that as a strength to
Hello, Kimberly.
the world of spirit. So she's continuing that work and being a great guide to us for whatever we need. Hello, Kimberly. Thank you for your kind words, calling us beautiful people. We're all beautiful people in our own way, and it's that inspiration and that love that we give to each other that matters. Being a good listener, being a good guide to those who need our support. Often it isn't about opening our mouth, it's about using our ears, and often at times we lose the art of listening. Last week was about magic, and it was talking in various different aspects of how we act and our mannerisms, but it's kind of, this week is a little bit of the same. Anybody can bring any topic up they want or any question they wish to, and it is about honouring our ancestors for tonight. We must be thankful for that support and that guidance from those who are connected to our bloodline, and we must honour those who are around us, like our spirit guides and those stranger spirits that are there which are by our side. Even if we do not know who they are and they're anonymous, we still feel there's an energy that we don't know what it is, and it's love. It is that energy from the world of spirit that are around us. Well, thank you for being a friend to us as well, Kimberly. It's great to have you on for this live chat. What would you like to say about what an ancestor represents? What are they representing from the world of spirit? Instead of their physical self, what are they representing in the world of spirit now?
They're representing our past, our experiences, what they've experienced and how they've handled life has been handed down to us. So let's say the ancestor had a very bad experience in their life with whatever, how they handle themselves when they came around you is very important, because if they didn't do a very good job about handling stress or life, whatever, you got that projection on you. Now, if they actually rose from abusive relationships or anything that's negative in life, and they rose, hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
They rose and they became a better person for you. Props. That's what we're aiming to do. So when that person dies and goes to the other side or to spirit world, they're still there looking out for us. So we need to live our lives learning from bad experiences, so that we give that to the next generation. Okay, do not fall into negativity, and if you do, just rise above it. Tomorrow's another day. Don't beat yourself up too much for making mistakes or hurting someone, whatever. It's hard when you hurt people. Sometimes we don't forgive ourselves. We're hard on ourselves, but at the end of the day, if you don't let go of that and forgive yourself, you're going to stay stuck in that area.
We may think that those spirits in spirit world have the full protection and control of everything that's going on. They're, in pain. I feel at the end of the day, we have more control than we make out. What can we do? This is the question. I'll throw this out to you guys, and then I'll ask Belinda to answer, and I'll answer my own. It might be the same, it might be similar. What can we do to help those troubled ancestors or recent family members who have passed, who we know haven't completely settled in that energy, in that dimension of spirit after their circumstance of death? What can we do to help? How do we help them? We don't call upon them for support if we know they've recently passed and we know they're on a journey towards where they need to go, whatever that may be. I can just imagine it being just a flash of light beaming in a wormhole of energy, and that's where our soul is travelling to. And I feel that's probably the beginning, really, of where we are, unless it's just a one flash and we're elsewhere. How would we know? How would we know until we might have a near-death experience, and it may be right for someone to feel
Forgiveness.
that straight away. They might know what spirit world feels like and looks like. Forgiveness is absolutely right, Lynn. I will answer Laura Parrish, and you, but we will answer that question. What can we do? We can forgive, yes. That is letting go, accepting it is as it is. That's what happened then. What are we going to do to look forward now? Because that loved one would have wanted us to progress in life and be happy.
Yes, at the end of the day, we're all human, and even though we think of our parents as, oh my God, they should know it all, they should have all the answers. They don't. They don't have the answers. They're just a man and woman. Just we forget that. So if we can allow ourselves to forgive and accept each other for belief systems or attitudes or preferences, whatever, if we can allow ourselves to accept, the world will be so much better. Our relationships with each other, husband, wives, sons, daughters, everybody, uncles, whatever, it would be so much better because acceptance allows for so much growth in love, and you actually, when you accept the person for what they are, let's say Michael was a Luciferian and I love him, and I was a Catholic and I love him, but and he was just a wonderful man to me, and I accept that. I would accept that because I love him and I looked past that. So acceptance is a big one out there.
For the forgiveness side, there are things that maybe our loved ones from the world of spirit have done to other family members or done to us and then passed on, and we don't really have we have regrets that we could have spoken to them before they died or said what we wanted to say, but some things are unforgivable. But you're on that journey and you're not quite there yet to forgive, and that's okay. That's okay to be here, and forgiveness is there. It doesn't matter, because eventually you are going to get to that, and you are going to accept. If you can't accept, you're not going to forgive. But it's hard to accept abuse. It's hard to accept verbal, mental, sexual abuse, because it's horrid. We don't want these things happening to our family circle. And that's where protection comes in, and the things that certain members of our family didn't do, we can put those things in place now. Laura Parrish, I'll just click on see more. Let's see what we've got. I have a question, she says, Laura Parrish on here. Do you believe that people are surrounded by the same people's energies throughout different lifetimes? That the connection between friends and family are never really broken?
Yes, I do believe that. I do believe that we're surrounded, especially by the first 7 closest people in our life, and the energy just continues to be around until that energy feels like it's grown enough, and it moves on after that. But I do believe that. I do believe that we are always around the same energy forces, and why? To learn, to teach, whatever reason it may be. I do believe that.
With this energy of a ball of light, of an orb running around, and that energy is just so fabulous, you can feel it. If you see an orb around the room, if that's possible, reincarnation's possible. For me and Belinda to have that connection in this life, what is ever stopping us from another life being, I don't know, of a connection through friendship or family members again? We might have been disconnected from another life. We might have not even known each other in the past life, but we had a connection in a previous life, but we now have had that connection in this life. Our spirit probably was a little bit all over the place in the last life if we never made connection with each other, because we know, but we did have a connection. And the fact is, our spirits were destined to meet again in our bodies, these bodies, and that is what it's about, that connection between friends and family. Our family, our children, are a little familiar. They are, they are much like us, and they must have had a connection with us in previous lives too. We will have a special live broadcast next week again on the Akashic Records. That's something I'm not really researching much about, but it's a meditation that I have felt more about archiving our past lives and getting it and locking certain past events that we really would like to know more about our journey before, and it's good because it makes sense and it might answer some questions to what we have now. Kimberly, I have ancestors from another realm to watch over me. Once in a while my mum and dad will be here, but the others will always be here. Not my choice, but the creator of the universe request.
Thank you for your input on that. We appreciate everybody's input and everybody's different ways of thinking. This is how you make this community so beautiful, and we learn off of each other. That's the main thing here.
Somebody's got something to give. Maybe somebody who's just said hello on the dashboard but didn't really bring a question out. Doesn't matter. They've connected their energy and they're learning. And maybe next week they might throw a question out. Everybody might throw a question out, and they're all going to be different.
Also, if you guys have any ideas on topics that you'd like for us to cover, that'd be great and welcomed to give to us.
And how can we describe love? How can we describe peace and joy and serenity and trust and loyalty, commitment, all these words? We all have a different definition as to what we think they are. But that's okay, because if they are of the similar likeness, our definitions, then we're all on the right track. If we're all respecting one another and listening to one another, isn't that surely what we are aiming for? We may not agree with everything each other says, but at least we've respected what the other person has said and not gone on the attack mode just so that we want to make our opinion, our feelings take over the conversation, which it shouldn't be that way.
And that goes under acceptance, of course.
Emotions. Lynn says emotions.
Very good. Emotions are tricky and very powerful. Emotions, if we're led by our emotions, it's a dangerous thing. Controlling our emotions is very important when you know you're gonna get, like, let's say you're having a bad time with your ex-husband or ex-wife, and you have children in between them. This is one time when I would say controlling the emotions and just respecting each other, even though you don't like each other very much. You're divorced for a reason. It's okay. Remember, always keeping in mind those children at hand. They are the most important thing. They're the most important. They're the most up. Never involve a child. That's one thing I believe, and I've learned from having an ex-husband and children. We're better parents apart, and if we can just accept that and just think about the kids and not talk down about the parent in front of the children, even though we may think they're whatever. Never do that, because all you're harming and hurting is that child's mind and perception. You can go outside and talk to your spouse about the person or whatever, but that's one thing that I do recommend, is that people try to be a grown-up. All right? Remember, you pick that person to be your baby's mom or dad. At the end of the day, that child had nothing to do with the choice. So why would you blame that child and say, oh, you're just like your dad or your mom or whatever? Never do that.
Lynn
love
Lynn
the
agrees
child.
with that. She says it's crazy.
Yeah, love your child. And if they're stubborn as their mother or their father, love them even more.
I have another thought on the emotional side, actually. Emotions within ourselves about whatever. We never should look. We all look for the good in each other, but we should never think that the spirit world is all just merry and lovely. No, if people are going to harm us here in this physical world, this dimension on Earth, then they're going to do it in spirit world, and we must understand this. But if we don't protect ourselves, if we don't take care of our aura, our chakras, our colours, our take frequent meditation, take care of our physical body, stay mentally strong, those negative energies, those negative spirits are going to use our emotions. They're going to get into our thoughts, into our memories. They're going to use our weaknesses to try and control and manipulate. So these spirits do it for different reasons. They do it to aggravate. They do it because they want power. They do it because they can. And those emotions need to be kind of locked inside and not let out for spirit to feel in this connection, you know. With the emotional side in this world, we need to look after our emotions here, and we need to not let all the energy out for just to be an open channel to spirit, because it's vast out there, it's big. There's so many people out there that are not of good intention in the spirit world, and we must recognise that we are not just battling this evil in the world here, but we're battling the other side too, and it's keeping that balance, trying to keep strong and stay in that love and light, but recognise that there are demons within ourselves that will be used for purposes. David, Lisa, thank you. You said, yeah, definitely. Nice to have you on. Do you feel other person's feelings if you are meditating? Kimberly Ann asked that question. If you're meditating and you're channeling, and somehow spirit come through and you sometimes they do it, you channel spirit, you can feel what sometimes that spirit is feeling. You can feel also distant healing to someone, whether it's through Reiki or the witch type healing, any type of spiritual healing. You are going to feel at times when sending distant healing to a loved one who's sick, you're going to get that connection, that channel, and you're going to feel a little bit of emotion from them. You're going to feel drained. So it is also being careful to protect yourself as well. What would you say about Kimberly's question on do you feel other people's feelings if you are meditating?
First of all, when you begin to meditate, you got to protect yourself, and this is where we go into our white light and our protection light to absorb. Let's say you're meditating with your partner or your friend, your roommate's having a bad day, or they're not really interested in what you do, and they're very emotional. So what you're going to want to do is protect yourself off of that, because a lot of people are empathics. A lot of people don't know that they are. So they can absorb that. They can feel that. What's going to happen is you're going to wake up feeling worse than before you started meditating. So as always, take precautions, protect yourself always, inside out. And I'm sure Michael will do a video on meditation.
Absolutely. And that ties into about ancestors, as David Lisa asks. Do ancestors feed off our energy / negativity too? It just depends how the ancestor is in spirit.
I believe we can feed more off of their energy.
I believe so, yes.
I don't believe that we can actually make the ancestor feel, they may feel empathic if you're crying, if your mother passed away and she sees her daughter or son crying, and that mother was a caring mother that was nurturing and protector, then she's probably going to get angry and figure out what the hell's going on. This is when you come to your ancestors to help you with life situations. I'm not talking about everyday petty things. All right, don't frustrate them with stuff like that. I'm talking about if you're having problems with your marriage, or you're having problems at work, or even prosperity, asking for your ancestors to assist you, and then also doing something about it. Because at the end of the day, we have the power within ourselves to create and uncreate any situation in our lives, unless you're a child. I've always said that, unless you're a child being abused, we all have control over our situations. Whether we want to, let's say I have an abusive husband, but I won't leave him because he's the one that pays the bills and I'm living good. Well, then that's my compromise. Then I'm going to accept it and be there accepting that.
For example, you have to look at the ancestor. For example, Belinda's mother in the world of spirit. If negative things are happening within this family here, which we have ups and downs in families, but it's not bad. If they were, she would
love you guys.
Be strong enough to deal with that, because she's never going to change. She's who she is. She's a strong person. Belinda saw it. She's still there in spirit. She would do everything to act and try and change the situation for the better. She wouldn't feed off that negative. She's going to do everything to draw it out, like she's like a piece of selenite, pulling out that energy and putting in something new with her love. And that's what makes an amazing ancestor.
Yes.
Brilliant question, actually, that was. Being an empath is hard work.
It is very hard work.
Forget the medium or the channel. Look at just the empath and how hard it is for those sensitive souls.
I am a very empathic person. I'm not a medium. I'm a seer, and um, I see spirit. I hear spirit. I feel emotions. I feel people. Um, it's very hard when people are crying to you and not to feel the emotion. But before, I was an emotional wreck because I was not only feeling my emotion, but everyone else's. So I had to start kind of building up my strength inside with protection, kind of shielding myself at like an egg, shielding myself. And I'll hear the person and I'll empathize with the person, but I kind of block my heart chakra. And you learn how to do that if you continue to meditate on how to block certain things.
Yeah. I feel with that empath side, it isn't just about being an empath in this.
Thank you,
in this,
Keeper.
but to feel spirit and feel those energies. What about being in this physical and sensing energy off others? You're giving advice and you're giving, and you're communicating with people. We're in our job. We're parents. We have responsibilities rushing around. All those things are just normal things that we do in our everyday life. But it's being an empath on top of that makes us equally drained on top of all the things we've got to do. Now, when we're helping people, we're feeling, oh, something isn't quite right with this person. We want to do everything to help that person, but yet we protect ourselves, but not all the time. We will become drained, which suggests to me that they're sucking our energy. They're like spiritual vampires, and they don't know they're doing it sometimes. None of us actually know that we may be sucking energy from each other. We say we're not, but sometimes when we give somebody eye contact, we like the person that we see, we like their energy, and we become energized afterwards, and then that person becomes drained. But it's not our fault, but we have to learn to keep our whole energy and our whole aura protected from that. We step into somebody else's zone, and our aura could be just huge all the way around us with colour, but yet we could be imagine walking into each other's auras and what energies we're feeling from each other. Yeah, it is draining, it is hard, but this is just a fact in life. We got different energies, different levels, and we just need to continue to protect ourselves no matter what. Do you believe in dreams? Like when you go to sleep and see images, do you believe in them, Kimberly?
Yes, very much. Real quick, because I have to step away real quick. Thank you for that, Kiefer. We love you too. I do believe very much in premonition dreams because I get them all the time. So one thing that I learned when I was a lot younger, when I was about about 8 to 10, I started keeping a dialogue of my dreams because I just had that. I had to do that, so I do that. So now, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is start to recall because it's already been set in my mind. So yes, listen to your dreams. There's a lot of secrets in there or information.
Spirit communicate through those dreams. If we were to see certain things that were just, we felt like we were going to die in a dream. That's actually, we're going to live a long time. It's always the opposite, but it's always best to free ourselves from nightmares, and there's so many different ways to bring a relaxing, peaceful mind. We can make oils, light very peaceful smelling candles, relaxing meditation, soak in the bath. We can do all sorts of things, cleansing the home, and that helps with releasing those nightmares. I do believe in dreams. Most of our dreams are just unexplainable. They're like weird. One minute we're in normal life in a dream, and the next minute we're fighting a monster or we're flying around doing something. But there's a meaning to everything, really, and I wouldn't just push every dream out the way. Everything happens in very mysterious ways, and they sort of say God works in mysterious ways, or that divine or deities work in very mysterious ways, and they do. I feel that dreams, once we have a loving, caring dream, or we've had an experience with spirit, our grandfather or our mother or father, anybody from the world of spirit, we should see it as we've met that spirit again. I've had many dreams with my grandfather where he's touched my hand, by the side of the bed and said that he knows that how much I love him, and he just told me that he loved me back in a dream. Is that just a dream, or is that really my grandfather coming through? And I believe that that is so. It is my grandfather coming through. And that isn't that good for spirit, as we said about ancestors, for my grandfather coming through to give his time and his love to me, even though I know his circumstances of his death, and I know that it's an amazing step for him to have gone forward to come through to me in a dream, even though he needs a lot of time to heal in the world of spirit. So healing as well, healing in our dreams. We take a bad dream and we could turn it around and make it feel, make it look like we actually could heal from it. We could talk it out, talk to somebody. We got a nightmare that we just cannot explain, but it just really made me feel a bit uncomfortable. We talk about it, and often there's been people who come to me and talk to me about dreams like that, and I come up with an explanation, and then they start to talk about their past and their childhood and their life, their marriage, their relationships with people, friendships, their work, and whether they're happy in their work and their job, and it all links to that nightmare. And there's a reason why it came up and came through, because they have to change their life for the better. So yeah, I do believe in dreams. When you go to sleep and you see images, as Kimberly has just said, they're trying to tell you something. They're trying to give you a message. They're trying to help you with something in your life, a circumstance. It's not always going to be a simple puzzle. It's like a puzzle, and we're trying to figure out what they're trying to say. Same with mediumship and channeling or connecting to spirit for people. They don't work just to the basics. They always come up with anagrams and symbols, letters, anything in a book or like a word, and it all makes sense. It all falls into place in the end. Spirit trying to connect to us isn't easy. They will use everything and anything to try and get the message across. Lynn says, I feel dreams are giving answers. Belinda will be back in just a minute. She's just rushing, doing something. And it'd be very interesting to see what she would say about dreams. Obviously, she's had dreams about me as well. My childhood, things that I didn't remember came through to Belinda's head, and she explained them to me, and they were unpleasant things, and some were very pleasant. I was very fortunate as a child, but yet lacked that emotional love from certain people. But she explained that to me, and that's wonderful that she can come out with a dream that would have a meaning to me. They give me answers. They give each other answers. We all need to just not try and dismiss everything that comes to us. Lynn says again, if you are scared to see them while awake, they will enter your dreams. Well, I'm not really sure about that question. How would I put that to you? If you are scared to see them while awake, they will enter your dreams. I think they're going to do everything possible to connect and communicate with you, but they don't want to startle you. Some are just persistent, some are they're like normal people. Do you think when they pass and they go to spirit, they're going to be people that they're going to change to be calm, patient people? No, they're as anxious and excited and impatient to want to hear from us, just as much as we are impatient to hear and we want to hear from them. So they're going to do everything possible to connect one dimension to another and get the message across to us. And if we are afraid to see them or hear them in while we're awake, then I bet you $20 on the table they're going to come through in a dream instead. Sometimes we do often have curses put upon us by other people too, and we had a particular person put a curse upon us who we didn't know but was connected to a client, and this witch had no idea of our energy and our ability, but she came in our dream and walked. Belinda imagined her coming through the house and breathing over her in the bed. So they will do that. whether in meditation, whether in our dreams. They do everything possible to get in there. Not of good intention, some people, and we must do everything to protect. And we're not just protecting our partner and ourselves, we're protecting our family, our children around us. That is very important too. And our children may have dreams. They're empathic, and as you said, Lynn, it's not easy. It's draining. It's hard to be an empath. And when children go through it, they say they see something or feel or hear something. You're going to take their word for it because you know and you can relate to what they're going through because of your childhood. So never dismiss what a child is telling us. Another question, Lynn. My son moves things in my home and I know when he is around because I get tears. He moves things because he wants to get the message to you that there's a loving energy around you, that there's this connection between you and bond of love with the son, and he'll move it because he wants to let you know that that energy exists. He is there. He's not just proving that he is around you with love and protection and to want what's best for you, but he's there to prove life after death. That is what we do. If you're of good intention, then your purpose as a spirit is to go on that journey, heal as much as you can, experience new and wonderful things, and have an awakening as you pass the spirit world. It's important to have an awakening here when you're alive, but when you're over there, you kind of have that purpose to get the message spread to so many people down on earth that I'm here, there is a spirit world, and you become excited. Imagine if I was to pass the spirit world now, and I would be so excited to want to let most people know what I've just seen, what I've just experienced. This dimension is just fabulous, but it isn't always fabulous. Depending on what we need to learn and the life lessons and the things that we do, we need to put right what we didn't put right now in this life. We also need to go to the spirit world and recognize when we die that there's certain things that we didn't do on earth, and we need to put them to right in spirit world. Learn the lesson over there as well. It's hard to be here in this world to learn so many different things, but we just take everything as it comes. Belinda is back now. She is back. There's been a few questions and they've been about dreams. Obviously I'll recap quickly what Kimberly said. Do you believe in dreams, like when you go to sleep and see images? Do you believe in them? Lynn says, I feel dreams are giving answers. If you are scared to see them while awake, they will enter your dreams. They will find to get in to you in another way.
Well, like when it comes to like, do you have a pen? When it comes to like the subconscious mind, and also when it comes to like spirits, when we're born, like I've said, when we're born, we're trained to kind of block that part, that realm off. But when we're most susceptible and more open is when we're in our dreams. So yeah, they will come in our dreams.
As we go down, obviously Lynn talked about her son moving things up in her home, and that she knows when he is around because I get tears. When you get tears, you also get in the emotions. He's making you're feeling the love. You know in your gut, you know in your solar plexus, you know in your heart chakra that there is something, and he is there close by. He's proving life after death also. He's excited. He wants to let everybody know. Imagine if we were over there. We want to let everybody know what we're seeing.
I believe that they're there. And
some people can't feel it from the work from here. If we were over there, they're not going to feel it because some of them are closed-minded. They don't want to learn.
Yes.
Next, we'll just go down. Kimberly said, I've always had the very same dreams about this huge house with a lot of people living there, and it ends up me going down underground. What do you think that means?
A house with a lot of people, and you end up going down underground. I believe that you would have to answer because it's probably something significant. If you would think about it, I have a dream almost like that. I have a dream, but it always goes back to my one of my homes that I lived in when I was about with my parents at about 19. And I always dream about that one house. Why? Because I left a lot of issues when I left that house. So I do dream a lot that I'm in that one house and that there's something going on in the back room, or I don't want to go to the back room. So I know my connection to that is like past emotions and unresolved issues when I left that home. So for that one, you would only have to look into yourself and answer that yourself.
Um, and it will come to you. And now you've asked the question, and we've described to the best of our ability. It will come to you at the right moment. Spirit going to help you with that. They're telling you something. It's not always going to be simple when they come in dreams. They use anagrams and codes and symbols, but will answer the best. They will try and give you what you need to know to the best of their ability, and it will come to you. I promise you that. Lynn says, I saw him in a dream. I felt I was with him in spirit. But a man came out of a door and told my son to send me back. I was not meant to be there.
When you have dreams with your ancestors and they're really real, like you are with them, they visit. They do visit. And the reason why they visit so much when we're in our dream, like I said, is because that's when we're more guard down. And there's times, I mean, I dream of my mother from the day she died practically every day. And there's days that I'll know she's dead. And there's days that I don't remember she's dead. And there's days that I know she's dead, but I'm talking to her. So a lot of times, some dreams maybe just be past memories or whatever, but when they're there and they're around you and you can feel it and you wake up and you're like, wow, what just happened? That person is there with you. And just know this, when a person has died, their physical body has died, they're still there. They, unless that person was completely and died at a full life and everything resolved and very wise person, move on. But for the most part, young people, people that die abruptly, people that have unfinished businesses, um, they don't move on. They're still here. You can talk to them, and they're listening to you.
With that question that you asked, that's a memory and that's an experience. You obviously meant to come back because you weren't meant to stay, but it's an experience that you're meant to keep close in your heart. Don't let that go. That's something that's giving you the proof of afterlife. It's validation. You know, you saw him in a dream and he gave you that feeling, and that's something you should keep close by. He doesn't want you to let that go. We've touched upon a lot of subjects really about ancestors, and obviously to just throw one more question out to wrap it up, before I even explain what we're going to talk about next week.
Or have them give us
an option. I wanted to talk about psychic art actually, and experiences with psychic artists. What have you had any really like identical psychic art done from from a psychic artist that's going to help you feel close to that spirit? You know, I've had one, and I've seen my great grandmother on a picture, and it looks just like my grandfather. So it's amazing that they can have that connection. But we can talk about that next week. Other than that, I feel that we should just know that we've got many different methods to connect to our ancestors, and we do it through ancestral dirt. We might even have a lock of their hair. We might have a piece of their clothing. Anything that could just connect you to call upon a very faithful, loyal ancestor that we trust.
And remember, if you're going to be working with ancestors, make sure that they are an ancestor that is worth working with. You do not want to work with an alcoholic ancestor or an abusive ancestor, even though you loved them. Someone that didn't have it quite together, because you know what? Guess what? If you die an idiot, you're going to be an idiot. The only thing you gain is like maybe the seeing of the next part of life, but you're still going to be that idiot. This is why we keep coming back. All right, so making sure of who you're working with now. Remember, if you're going to work with these people, you need to honor them. Have an altar for them. How do you have an altar? Their favorite things. Let's say he liked Harry Potter, like my husband here. You'd have something for Harry Potter. You would have a picture of his or her, and you would have light a candle for them, a glass of water there with them, flowers, um, little things that they like, put it there, honor them, talk to them,
Yeah.
and give them thanks all the time, because they don't have to, but you know that they will, and it's nice, and they feel good because they know that you still remember them and they're still there. You just can't physically touch them. They're still around us. I still know my mother's around. A very wise woman that my cousins, my friends, people, so many people came to her for wisdom, for healing, for so many things. What a great woman. What an honor I have um, to say, what an honor it is for me to say that she was my mother. I'm so proud of her. Not one thing did she do that embarrassed me. Um, I'm not saying she's perfect, but she was a very strong woman that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be who I am today. But this I say with a lot of pain. If she was still here, I wouldn't be who I am today. Because when she died, I had to evolve. And I had to put my big girl panties on instead of running to mommy. Mommy was the stone. Mommy was the rock. Mommy was that that force, that strength in our family. That anything went wrong, mom was there. The strength. She was a lioness, protector, a fighter. And if she was still around, I always went to her when if she was still around, I would probably still be going to mommy. When mommy died, I went through my own darkness and my own pain and acceptance, and I've become the person I am today because of her.
I think we only know who our ancestors are. Linda knows who her mother is, and I know who my grandfather is. He made mistakes, but there's times where I don't know when he's here. He may have made an influence in my life from the time he died. He may, but like I said, I had to change and evolve again. When you lose somebody you love, you change and evolve. I haven't lost a parent yet, but losing my granddad was heartbreaking for me at the age of 18. I'm now 31. He's got to have made some influence, even though he's gone on that healing journey in spirit world. And I'm sure he's come around, but it's respecting them. And if you've got love and the connection to think about that person, they're going to come through stronger because they're going to use that love energy. Kimberly, we can talk about people doing bad witchcraft against others without their consent next week or something like that. Yeah, even though it's not their consent, the client connected to that other person
We can talk that. That's a good topic.
Has asked for justice, so we can talk about that to help. It's all about helping with the closure of and release and healing for the people. Reading books and watching films you like will also give you answers. Yes, sometimes, but we've got to connect in meditation, really. You've also got to connect in meditation and ask the third eye to open up. Some of the answers and some of the knowledge will be given to you from the world of spirit. So, many blessings on tonight, really. Next week we will go with that. If other people have got other ideas, we'll just mix that up, the topics about dark arts and the divination. That is a subject that we would be interested in throwing out to you guys. What you think about that? Essential to have light, essential to have dark. We must balance the two. You know, dark heals just as much as light. They both have a purpose in this world. So, have a wonderful evening and blessings.
Blessings, guys. Thank you for being here with us, and again,
thank you.
Looking forward to hearing about from you guys next week. And like I said, in the beginning of next week, I think we should just make an open topic type of thing and just quickly go through things, not too in depth. If you want something more in depth, you'd have to contact us on our emails.
I'm just yawning a bit there. I think it's a bit drained because we have got spell work to do afterwards. So if you wish to follow us on our YouTube channels.
Yes, many blessings. You guys have a blessed night and hope to see you next week.
Yeah, many blessings.
Thank you, Lynn. Everybody for watching.
Thank you.